what we've seen over the past 2 weeks, Matt, of course, with the SEC and the ACC taking the podium last week, the week prior was the Big 12, and this week the Big 10 is, conference expansion has hit and realignment has hit every conference that's currently in play, whether it be from a power stance of the Big 10 and the SEC, or the awkwardness of a Big 12 having Oklahoma and Texas players and coaches there who are leaving the conference. Now with the Pac-12, we saw it from Jim Phillips of the ACC last weekend, him having to somewhat answer speculation about getting picked apart. But with the Pac-12, it's already happened. I've got to think that what is going to come out of the mouth of George Kliavkoff this Friday is going to be rather intriguing.
Very much so. That, the Pac-12 Media Day, it's singular. It's just going to be this Friday, not a multiple day session. Kliavkoff has been very tight-lipped, as expected, and as one would hope if you're a Pac-12 fan, that you wouldn't want him talking in public. You want him working behind the scenes. You want him talking to the TV networks and, of course, to all the member schools, and also making chess moves, to see what's attainable in realignment. And it's been fascinating to see how the chessboard has changed, because we're almost a full month since the USC UCLA move to the Big Ten. And, the first few days after that move, the thought was Oregon and Washington to the Big Ten. Pac-12 is going to die, splinter off. And that not only did it not turn out to be true, but it's not even close to true. It's not even close to being possible. John Wilner, who we're all reading now, to see what his take is on Pac-12 realignment. When last week, he speculated about Oregon's future. He mentioned 3 conferences. None of them were the Big Ten. So it's not just that Oregon to the Big Ten isn't happening. It's not really even under serious consideration right now. And meanwhile, over the course of this month of July, over the course of the past 4 weeks since the UCLA USC move to the Big Ten, what's changed? San Diego State is now widely seen among industry experts and insiders as the school that isn't necessarily likely to join the Pac-12, but if the Pac-12 does expand, San Diego State is universally seen as the first school in line for that. So that's a big change, because if you followed people who study the Pac-12 closely over the past several years, if you brought up San Diego State, they'd said, nah, that's not important. And of course, that was based on USC and UCLA not leaving for the Big Ten or any other conference. But in the first few days after the USC UCLA move, even then, San Diego State was not seen as, that's the school we need to bring. It was more about the Big 12. And then it was more about, as we got into mid-July, it was more about a possible merger between the Pac-12 and the ACC. San Diego State really didn't become this supposedly obvious solution or this clear front runner for Pac-12 expansion until the 3rd or 4th week of July. So it's just fascinating to see how the game is constantly changing and evolving. One of the new and emergent reasons for San Diego State getting so much talk as a possible Pac-12 expansion candidate is not so much the value addition that it provides, but more of, you don't want the Big 12 to consider San Diego State, because then you give the Big 12 a foothold in Southern California. So in other words, adding San Diego State is not so much what the Aztecs bring to the table, but it's so that the Big 12 can't get it. So in other words, it's a defensive play. That's what Wilner said in his most recent column. So that's not what we were talking about the first few days of July. It was about Oregon and Washington, also a lot about Stanford. San Diego State is now suddenly, a major player in conference realignment. And then behind San Diego State, there's a lot of speculation about SMU and Fresno State being in the mix as the school to join San Diego State if the Pac-12 wants to get back to 12 member schools.
Okay. Well, I will say that based on the videos I produced right after all this went down, that I was pretty much in line with the San Diego State, Fresno State markets. So Matt, when Lincoln Riley gets his day with the media along with the rest of the Pac-12 coaches on Friday, is there anything in particular that you would like to hear from the coach?
Well, I don't have really a wish list because that Lincoln Riley's not going to give anything away. This gets back to his cautious, keep all the cards close to the vest. Like, I'm just not expecting any kind of big revelatory thing from him. I mean, one of the noteworthy points about Pac-12 media days and all the activities that are going along with it, Mike Bone, the athletic director at USC, and Martin Jarman, the athletic director at UCLA, they're not going to be part of the AD meetings at the conference. They're going to be excluded. They are personas non grata at this event, as one could readily imagine. And that leads us to really, I think, the most newsworthy aspect of all this is that while Pac-12 Media Day is happening, what is the UC, the University of California Board of Regents, going to do regarding UCLA's move? Because UCLA, along with Cal Berkeley and the other schools in the University of California system, they're all connected. It's widely agreed upon that the Board of Regents can't block UCLA's move to the Big Ten. But there is an interesting point of drama, and I think that this might be the most newsworthy element of Pac-12 Media Days, because I don't think we're going to see any media deals announced, and we're not going to see any other chess pieces move in terms of realignment until Notre Dame makes a firm decision. That's not coming quickly. And you also know that's not likely to be into another conference, that Notre Dame values its independence. We need to see something that would really tell us if Notre Dame's actually going to forsake its coveted independence for something else. So we're not likely to see any actual movements on the realignment chessboard. So really, for Pac-12 Media Days, I'm going to be interested in revelations surrounding the Board of Regents, and will they require UCLA to pay, and they can find the specific pot of money from which to demand payment by UCLA. Will the Board of Regents demand that UCLA basically subsidize Cal Berkeley athletics? That is being discussed as the genuine action, and of course very punitive as well, that the Board of Regents can take against UCLA. That, hey, if you're going to leave for the Big Ten, and UCLA is going to get the cash from the Big Ten as a result of its move, well, you're going to have to fork over a significant percentage of that to support Berkeley and to support the rest of the UC school system. So if UCLA takes that big financial hit relative to its move to the Big Ten, just how much blood can the UC Board of Regents squeeze out of the turnip here? And could that possibly give UCLA a second thought if the Board of Regents is that hell-bent on punishing UCLA financially? Because the Bruins have been hemorrhaging debt. How far can they go? I am looking for news related to that theater of events at Pac-12 Media Days. I think that's the biggest story, because I don't think we're going to see any schools, at least not at the Power 5 level, change memberships in the rest of 2022, because Notre Dame's going to take its sweet time.